Hi, I'm Alia Jasmin. So I'm going to share the information that I got from my research. I will put my reference of this information on the comment section and use the elements of biodiversity in order to establish my edible garden. So there are thousands of varieties of edible plants that we can grow, faced with an increased informality of fruits and veggies on supermarket shelf, helping to preserve the biological heritage and culinary diversity of edible plants is a worthy task for us. And when planting, we need to consider growing different species side by side in the same bed. This brings a structure of root system, with some roots spreading widely and improving soil structure, and other roots growing deeply, drawing nutrients to the surface. And the vast majority of insects and microorganisms have a beneficial or neutral influence on our gardens. Natural pollinators are essential for the success of many crops, and the billions of microorganisms in the ground help keep the soil fertile. So, the very best way to improve our soil compaction is to make sure it doesn't happen in the first place. Avoid tilling your soil when it is too wet or too dry. And for plant, compacted soil is like a pile of bricks, because roots must work harder to grow into soil, which means that there will be less roots and the plant take up fewer nutrients and water. All this can make the plant to be a poor plant growth. And to prevent from dry soil, we can also use compost, because compost is the best form of organic matter. The main particles in healthy soil are decomposed organic, natural ingredients and living organisms. The more natural ingredients in the soil, the better moisture retention and healthier soil. And we can also use mulch like cane, hay or other mulch. Plant matter helps to improve soil and retain moisture during dry times, and we can also use the unwanted weeds in our side that we pluck out from the side, so we can use it as a mulch. So the other watering method is we can use plastic bottle that we cut half to make a hole on the bottom, and we combine it with a stick, and we put it in our side. And also we can use a PVC pipe that we make a hole along the PVC pipe, and we put in around the side. And we can also use a pipe. What I learned from the rules of biodiversity is the definition is the variety of plant and animal life in the world or in a particular habitat, a high level of which is usually considered to be important and desirable. Refers to the variety and variability among living organisms and ecological compliance in which they occur. Major component in biodiversity are ecosystems diversity, species diversity and genetic diversity. For ecosystem diversity, it relates to variety of habitats and biotic communities and ecological processes in the biosphere, and is considered as complex level of diversity. For species diversity, most common level of diversity and comprise the number of different species at a place. For genetic diversity, refers to total genetic information contained in the genes of individual of plants, animals and microorganisms. Genetic diversity is comparatively less obvious level of diversity as it represents variation within species. Interest. When I got this assignment, my mind started to imagine a lot of fruit and vegetables plant. Because this assignment is about each student need to make their own edible garden on the site given by applying a biodiversity elements to the site. And I can't wait to make my own edible garden because I want to take this chance to plant a lot of variety of fruits, vegetables. So for this assignment, each student will be given a watermelon plant. So to plant a watermelon have moderately deep roots and watering is seldom necessary unless the weather turns dry for a prolonged period. When vines begin to ramble, site dress plants with half a cup of balanced fertilizer. And to know that the plant is ripe, that we need to see when the vines begin to ramble, give watermelon plants a dose of boron to help them produce sweeter fruits. Dissolve 1 tablespoon of household borax in 1 gallon of water and spray foliage and the base of water plants. For the insects of watermelon, cucumber beetles and vine borers are the worst watermelon pests. And I found some ways to prevent from the fly fruit and other animal insects for watermelon, which we can apply the fertilizer, or we can use a net bag like this in the video that we can buy online, or we can create it on ourselves. So the first thing that I do on my side is I mulch the soil and make a raised bed because it is really a way of setting up my soil for the easiest possibility gardening. And I try to find a few more seeds of other edible plant other than the watermelon and pumpkin that we got from our lecturer. And I found a kacang botol and salad and tomato seeds. So I start to plant the seeds and I use the method of growing different species side by side in the same bed because it can bring a mixture of root system with some roots spreading widely and improving soil structure, and other roots growing deeply, drawing nutrients to the surface. And for my fertilizer, I use chicken dung 3 times in 4 months, and I use fish water from fish tank, and I also use water from wheat soak. So on my side, I have few edible plants, which is green leaf lettuce, tomatoes, ladyfinger, Brazilian spinach, sweet potatoes, wing bean, which is kacang botol, sunflower, watermelon and pumpkin. For pest and disease control, I use the yellow sticker, and I use citrus water